years ago. I was just a young girl, barely 20 years old, living in a small village. Life in the village was simple. People knew each other, and everyone looked out for one another. I was young, excited about life, and full of hopes for the future. I had dreams, but at that age, I didn't fully understand the complexities of the world. In the same village, there was a boy named Ethan. He was older than me, about 5 years older. Ethan was tall and handsome, with dark eyes and a charming smile. Everyone in the village noticed him. He was always surrounded by friends, and many girls admired him. I was no exception. I would watch him from a distance, admiring his confidence and the way he carried himself. There was something about him that attracted me, though I was too shy to talk to him. Ethan had a reputation. People in the village spoke of him as if he were a troublemaker. My mother often warned me about him. "Don't get too close to Ethan. He's not the right kind of person," she would say. My friends also spoke of him in negative terms. "He's not a good guy," they would say. But despite all these warnings, I couldn't stop thinking about him. I didn't care what others said. I had my own feelings. I thought maybe they didn't understand him the way I did. One warm evening in late summer, there was a dance at the village hall. It was an annual event, and everyone in town gathered for it. The air was filled with excitement and music. My friends and I were eager to go. My mother was concerned, as always. She didn't want me to go out too late, especially because she didn't trust the boys in the village. "Please, Mom, I promise I'll stay with my friends. It will be safe," I said, trying to convince her. After much pleading, she reluctantly agreed, but asked me to be careful. At the dance, the hall was alive with music. There were decorations everywhere, and the scent of fresh flowers filled the air. The laughter of the villagers echoed, and the room was full of energy. At first, not many people had arrived, but soon the place was buzzing with life. Ethan arrived, looking as handsome as ever. He glanced around the room, and when his eyes met mine, he smiled. My heart skipped a beat. He walked over to me, and my friends giggled quietly behind me. "Do you want to dance?" Ethan asked, his voice soft and inviting. I couldn't believe it. My hands were trembling. I nodded eagerly. We made our way to the dance floor, and as the music slowed down, he held my hand gently. We danced slowly, moving in rhythm to the song. I felt as though the entire world disappeared around me. In that moment, it was just the two of us. His smile made me feel special. He spoke to me between the dances, asking about my day and laughing with me. I was so happy. I didn't want the night to end. As the evening drew to a close, Ethan suggested, "How about we go for a drive? It's nice outside." I hesitated at first. It was getting late, and my mother had warned me about being out at night. But I couldn't resist. I agreed, and we walked to his car. He had a shiny black car, one that everyone in the village knew. I had never been in a car like that before. We drove through the quiet village streets, the moon shining above us. Everything seemed perfect. But soon, things began to change. Ethan took a turn down a dark road, far away from the village. I didn't recognize the place. There were no lights, no houses, and no people around. It was completely quiet. I began to feel uneasy. "Where are we going?" I asked, my voice shaking. Ethan didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stopped the car. The sound of the engine stopped, and everything became still. The silence was deafening. Ethan turned toward me. His smile had changed. It was no longer warm and kind. It looked different now, almost like a smirk. He leaned closer to me, his eyes not leaving mine. "What's wrong?" he asked softly. Before I could answer, he tried to kiss me. My heart raced in panic. "No, Ethan, I want to go home," I said, pushing him away. He ignored me and grabbed my wrist, pulling me closer. I struggled, but his grip was too strong. "Please stop," I shouted, feeling trapped. But Ethan only laughed. "You're boring," he muttered, anger flashing in his eyes. I tried to open the door, but he grabbed me and shoved me out of the car. I fell onto the cold ground. He didn't say anything more. He just drove off, leaving me alone in the dark. I was scared. I didn't know where I was. My house was far away, and I was all alone in an unfamiliar place. I started walking, my heart racing with fear. My feet hurt, and I was wearing shoes that weren't good for walking long distances. The path was rough, and the darkness made it hard to see. I walked for what felt like hours, my mind racing with thoughts of what had just happened. I couldn't believe Ethan had treated me this way. After what seemed like forever, I finally reached my house. My feet were covered in blisters, and my clothes were dirty from walking in the dark. I walked inside, feeling numb. I went to my room, sat on my bed, and cried. My heart was broken. I had trusted Ethan, and now he had hurt me. I couldn't understand why he had done that. The next day, I met with my friends. They listened to me quietly, and then one of them said, "We told you, didn't we? Ethan is always like this. He's done the same thing to other girls." I felt shocked. "Why didn't you warn me?" I asked. "We thought you knew," they replied. "Everyone in the village knows what he's like." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had spent so much time thinking Ethan was different, that he was someone I could trust. But the truth hit me like a punch in the stomach. That night, I learned an important lesson. I realized that I had to stop being naive and start trusting my instincts. I couldn't just ignore the warnings of those who cared about me. Over the next few months, I worked hard to move on from Ethan. I stopped thinking about him, and I began to focus on myself. I focused on my studies and spent time with my family and friends. Slowly, I became stronger. I learned that I was worth more than the way Ethan had treated me. 2 years later, I moved to the city to attend college. It wasn't easy at first. I was far from home and had to adjust to a new life. But with time, I found my place. I made new friends, worked hard at my studies, and started to build a better life for myself. I was no longer the young, naive girl from the village. I had grown stronger and wiser. By the time I was 28, I had built a life I was proud of. I had a good job, great friends, and a loving partner. I was happy. Looking back, I realized father's child. Life has been kind to me. I sometimes think about Ethan, but not in the way I once did. I am grateful that I learned that lesson early in life. I believe that everything happens for a reason. If I hadn't gone through that experience, I wouldn't have become as strong as I am today. It's strange how life works out. I think back to that summer night when I thought everything was perfect. I trusted the wrong person, but that mistake led me to where I am now. I've learned to be careful with who I trust, and more importantly, I've learned to trust myself. Looking at the life I have now, I feel thankful for everything. Sometimes, life takes us down a path that we don't expect, but we learn and grow from it.